So today, my name is Frank Sacco. I am a good friend of Jordan, and it's very rare that you meet an individual that really makes a deep impact. It's rare you find that type of person in this world. So right now, I'm going to bring forth somebody that has a significant meaning in my life, and he continues to do. In this world of dynamic change and complexity, sometimes it's hard to find your way. So I'm going to bring somebody that, along my journey in life, has brought me where I want to be. A vision of where I want to be in my life and a version of myself that I am striving to. So right now, I have the pleasure to introduce somebody with the energy and the passion and the heart for change. Jordan James Blacker, everybody. Give it up.
What's going on? How are you, everybody? How are you? How are you? Thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out. Put the music up. Turn it all the way up. All right, fast forward. Let's get the energy in. So this is going to be a fun event. We're going to have a fantastic time. And I'm going to need, if I say high five your neighbor, I need you to high five your neighbor. If I say hug your neighbor, hug your neighbor. If I say I want you to get up and celebrate, or hug your neighbor like it's like your long lost best friend or lover, you need to do that. So, oh my God, this is an example. Oh my God, it's good. Oh, what's going on?
Baby.
Oh, man. Yes.
Did you got my glasses?
Yes. See, that's the energy we need, all right? So will you guys promise me, can you commit to me that you will absolutely get up and celebrate if I ask you to celebrate?
Yes!
Absolutely. So let's turn this all the way up, all right? Give yourself a round of applause. Get up. Let's have a good time. Get up and come down here and move it forward in life. Okay. Now I definitely appreciate you guys can have a seat. Thank you for the energy. I want you to remember that amount of energy. And if I ask you to bring it back out again, just bring it back out, because that's what it's about. It's about enjoying the journey and having a good time and making sure that it was all worth it. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to cover that this entire time. That's what this is about. So, well, who am I? Right? Who am I? Like, why am I here? And who the hell am I to really say anything to you and to try to inspire you or give you any insight? So I'm going to give you my story instead of trying to give you the answer, so you can kind of understand why I'm here and how I got here. Does that sound good?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So who here remembers that stereotypical kid, that kid in the movie who's waiting to play dodgeball or basketball, and he's just like last to get picked? It seems like third to last person goes, the second to last person gets picked, and then finally, eternity later, he gets picked. Like he finally gets picked. Who remembers that kid? If you know that kid, raise your hand. Well, that kid got picked before me. I was about 4'8" and like 60 pounds overweight going into high school. And so I was that kid that people made fun of. And I spent a lot of my time just really depressed, down in the dumps. I didn't really feel like life was worth living. I spent a lot of my time depressed, just giving up. And when you do that, all you're really prepared to do is what? Fail in life. I mean, I hadn't practiced succeeding, and I was voted most likely to fail in high school, and least likely to succeed. 2 separate occasions. And I remember that, and it kind of broke my heart, but I graduated and I ended up getting a job and out of high school, and I was working and I was in school. I had friends, and it seemed like I was off to a good start. It seemed like it was going just fine. Like, that's what you do. You graduate, you go get a job, you go to college, and then all of a sudden my life started tanking. And it really dawned on me. I had spent all of my years making tons of excuses. Why run 10 miles when you can stay back and eat a pizza? And that's exactly what I did. So when I was trying my best, there was nothing I still got F's in life. I started losing my friends. Within 2 months, I was on warning number like 6 at my job. and I was about to lose my job. I had terrible grades at school. And with that, I became really concerned because I didn't know what to do. Like, my best clearly wasn't good enough. There was nothing I was doing that was working. I didn't understand. So I started looking outside of myself. I started looking at other people who were successful because I didn't have the answers. And with that, I found a very consistent pattern. I was in Washington, D.C. at the time. So I must have spent days, 10, 15 hours, just interviewing random strangers, from CEOs to people who swept chimneys. You know, just getting all these stories, seeing who was successful in in the areas that mattered, and then who failed, and what were the commonalities. And I found very consistently that when a person was successful in one area, they were always really terrible in one other area. So you'd have a person who's an excellent CEO who was a completely, totally terrible father. You would have a person who's a great dad and is a butthead of a husband, you know? You have a guy who's a great husband and a great dad, and everyone in the community hates him. And it's like, what's going on here? There was a very consistent pattern, and what I found was that what caused their greatest strength also caused their largest weakness. And I didn't really want to adopt that pattern because I was so done with losing. I couldn't take it anymore. I said, I'm not using their strategies because it just doesn't work. I can't lose in any areas of my life anymore. It's terrible. So I became obsessed with what I call the winning mindset. That is, I knew that there was a mindset that you could get into, that you could just win in every area of life. You wouldn't be great as a CEO and terrible as a dad. You could be a good dad if you wanted to. You could be a good boyfriend, in my case. You could be a good friend. You could have great grades. In every area of your life, you'd be successful. And I went to work. It was just theory for quite some time. And at this point, my life hadn't completely fallen apart, and I was in control. You know, I was in control. But what ends up happening was, I got to the point where everything fell apart. Everything. I had 2 jobs, 3 towns away, and I had no idea how I was going to get there. I had $566 in the bank, and I had no home, and I had no transportation. And I said to myself, my gosh, okay, all right, what's going on here? But you never really change until life demands it of you. And so this was either make or break. And I remember I made my way to this abandoned building, and I paid this guy like $60. It was this disgusting, what should have been a house. And I remember looking up at the ceiling, well, what should have been the ceiling, because it was missing. And then looking out the window, and the windows were gone. And I remember just sitting there thinking, man, this is terrible. I was breathing in everything from the outside because there was no door. They were selling cocaine above my head, like having these crazy cocaine and weed parties and tattoo parties. And it was just dangerous. I was staying in this house that was owned by this really dangerous guy I was hiding from at the time. I just couldn't believe that my life was gone. And I had 2 options. Either end it, suicide, right? That's so romanticized. Oh, let's just end it, you know? Or you have the option of doing everything in your power to turn it around, to just get to where you're going. And if you fail, it's not because you didn't try your best. It's not because you didn't do everything in your power to make sure that you got to the better case scenario. And so I said, you know what? Suicide would be terrible. That's not the option. I'm going to do everything I can. And by the end of that week, I was in a 3-story house with a jacuzzi tub, a motorcycle, leading both of my jobs in sales, making them both #1 on the East Coast, making employee of the month every month I was there. Appreciate it. So then, what I thought to myself was, okay, is this a fluke? Was it luck, right? Because everything I put in there, I created this whole system for winning, right? Was it luck? Like, did it work in one shot? Was it a one-shot deal? And so I said, okay, all right, well, what do I want to do? I looked in the mirror, I was like 50 pounds overweight, and I said, you know, I think I'm really big, so you know what, I think I'm just going to become a model. And so I decided on that, and 2 months later, I was signed with Liquid Talent Agency. I was getting paid for photo shoots. So then I said, okay, all right, well, this worked out fairly well, right? Life is turning around, but it's not everything I want, but life is turning around, this is all right. So I said, how far can I push this? So I put my feet up, I was eating a box of Pops, and I said, you know what? My bucket list is has going to California as its number one priority. And I was so scared to do so because I hadn't been anywhere on the West Coast. I had no family out there. I had no real options. I didn't really know what to do. But I said, you know what? I'm scared and I'm nervous. And because I was scared and nervous, as soon as the word fear came out my mouth, I booked a ticket. I went out there with nothing. I got 3 jobs in a day. I got a manager, got into a play. I had paid photo shoots. I got into a $1 million house with a pool and a side house. And then I went to the Captain America premiere party. I said, wow, hey man, this is working out. I said, okay, all right. Well, how far can I really push it? Like, what areas can this go into, right? I said, I sing. Let's see if I can do a solo, but I've been so nervous to do it before. You know, you sing, you put yourself out there, people judge you. I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna commit to this decision. I'm gonna do this solo. And a week later, I was singing at Disney World in front of thousands of people. I said, okay, all right, maybe it was just a series of luck. Like, let's see how far I could really push it. And I went into the area of health. I said, okay, I went to the gym, and I ended up losing 12 pounds of body fat in 21 days. And I looked at the biggest barrier to success. I said, what's the heaviest weight in here? What would be the toughest goal to accomplish? And I looked and I saw the 100-pound dumbbell. And I said, no one can curl hundreds. I don't think it's it's not possible. So I looked at the biggest guy in the gym, and he was curling like 80s, 86s. And with that, I said, okay, all right, if he can do that, all right, he's struggling, like really, really struggling. I said, I'm gonna go ahead and curl a 100-pound dumbbell. 1 month later, 2 months later, I was curling the 110 dumbbell with one arm on both sides. And I had come up from the 40s. So I said, okay, wow, this is, this is good. I've had fun in my individual life, but I need to start to contribute outside myself, contribute to other people, because that's what matters in this world. That's what matters most to me. And I learned this lesson. I learned how important it was once I finally did it and experienced it for myself, contributing beyond myself, contributing outside. So what I ended up doing was, I came to Westfield, and I ran the blood drives. And with that, they set the record. I think it took 3 months. I broke it in 5 days, and they begged me to stop recruiting people. And we saved hundreds of lives. And there was nothing more meaningful to me than saving that many people and to know that I mattered. If my journey had ended at that moment, it was completely and totally worth it. There was nothing better than that. And I promised myself that I would experience that more. And because it really is number one. So I said, what would be the most meaningful goal to set after this? Well, I have 5 heroes, and only one of them's alive. One of them was Michael Jackson, my musical hero. I felt like he was great. I love that guy. He's the bomb. And with that, I said, okay, when he died, I felt really betrayed by life. I said, I didn't really get to meet somebody who was important to me. I feel like this is some BS. I feel like it's unfair. How do you know who Chris Brown is? Are you kidding? You know NSYNC, but you don't know me? Like, is that acceptable in this life? Like, that can't be the reality. And so I said, I'll never, if I have a hero who's alive, I promise myself that I will do whatever it takes to make sure that they know who I am, they know my name, and they remember me. No matter who they are. I don't care if they're on the moon. I'm gonna make it happen because I set the standard. And if you care about somebody in general, they need to know. So, Tony Robbins is a hero of mine. And he was in New York doing a seminar, and the only issue when you have a hero like that is when they're super huge, him and his circle, unless you're Bill Clinton or Richard Branson owning Virgin Galactic or like Vladimir Putin, you're not gonna reach this guy. But you know what the goal was. You know what the standard is. So now what do you have to do? You have to meet the standard. You have to go for it. You have to make it happen. And so by the end of that month, I was chatting with him on stage. He's telling 5,000 people from 44 countries that I'm a man who makes things happen. And that was probably one of the most spectacular days of my life. So when I came back, by the time I came back, everybody really kind of knew. People kind of told my story. But people kept asking me all these questions, like how do you do certain things? How do you add value to other people, like and really love it? Like why do you care so much? Like why does it matter? And then also how did you meet Tony Robbins? How did you overcome homelessness? How did you get out of these situations? And how are you still happy? Like, why aren't you, killing everybody? Like, why aren't you angry? You should be really mad. And I said, I think I'm just gonna write it down and then just do a seminar, and so that it can be out and about. And I can kind of let people know what it is inside of me that allowed me to go from the kid who was most likely to fail. And my family agreed, like that was the thing, to be at that spot and then to come to a point where I'm very satisfied with the things that I've done, because they meant a lot. I felt like I could just share that. So that's why I'm here. And that's why, I also want to contribute beyond myself. Because once I learned the value of that, how much it means to other people to do so and to know that you care, and when I've had that done for me in the past, I remember it forever. And that's number one in my life. There's nothing more important than that. So, leads me into the first pillar of strength, all right? That's identity. All right, we're going to go through identity, your purpose, and your mission. All right, those are the three things that I have that keep me going when all hell breaks loose. Because all hell has definitely broken loose, and it's going to. We're young. We have many years of hell to go, but we also have heaven. Life has seasons. The night always has the day. So, identity. You have to have a strong sense of who you are. In the beginning, I didn't have a strong sense of who I was. I felt like, you make a winning shot, and then you feel great. And then, because everyone says that you're wonderful, and then somebody comes up to you and tells you, someone you value, even a family member, tells you that, you're just not worth being around. It's not you. It's definitely you. It's not me. And then you're like, oh my God, oh no, and it's like, then you feel terrible. Then you pass a test and you feel great. And then everybody at school or at work thinks you're just, a loser. And it's like, oh, no, man, I was just up, now I'm down. You keep disproving. It's like, well, what am I? What am I this time? What am I this time? I thought I was this, now I'm this. But something rooted in truth can never really be disproven, right? So how am I constantly disproving who I am? And often for the worse. How am I always feeling worse off? I had all these facts to prove that I was the man because I made the shot. And now I have to buy a new outfit to feel like I'm amazing again. Why am I disproving that? So I called that into question. And I started questioning the validity of my judgment system. And I recognized that the reason those constantly fail is because they're illusion-based. Because truth can never be disproven, yet I disprove those judgments all the time, those forms of self-judgment. So then I said, okay, I'm judging myself based off other people. Like people I value are coming up to me and telling me, and trying to use all types of facts, this is the reason you're this type of person, this, and I believed them. And people love to point the finger and say that you're the bad guy, no matter what. And if they have a lot of reasons to prove, well, it's because this reason, you're this type of person, a lot of times you'll feel like it. So when they have a lot of reasons, or a lot of people are saying it, maybe I'm just a bad person. And I had to come to the conclusion that really it's me who decides how I feel. I'm using what they're saying to then judge myself. And with that, I said, okay, so the ball is really in my court here. No matter what they say, I can always choose to love who I am. I don't have to listen to them. Whether I feel like they have a good point or not, doesn't matter. Because I'm ultimately taking their suggestions. They really just have loud suggestions. And I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm just going to judge me for me. And so I chose to judge myself as a winner. I attached myself to an idea. The idea of being a winner and everything that came with that. I said, no matter what, I may fail. I may lose my home. I may lose everything. But at the end of the day, my outside circumstance isn't going to dictate how I feel about me because I'm still a winner. I can still come out of this. There's always an alternative. I can always find a creative way. And with that, I found strength in connecting to ideas. And then I realized that, you know what, no matter what they say about me, if I say that this black speaker is purple, no matter, I can say with absolute conviction with 7 billion people behind me, we can have a million reasons each. This is purple. This is purple. This is the reason why we're judging you. This is definitely the way this goes. Does it actually change the reality? No, absolutely not. It's inside of their heads. It's their imagination. It's just a suggestion. And so no matter who I value, no matter who comes up to me with as many different facts to prove that I am a certain type of person, I should feel this way about myself, ultimately they have the same power that I had on that. Absolutely nothing. It's just a suggestion. You can ignore it. So I began to I became obsessed with this connecting yourself to an idea, a stronger sense of who you are using an idea or concept, something that can't be broken. All right? If the illusions can be disproven, and no matter what people say, it really doesn't matter because it's a suggestion. What do I do when I'm not judging myself based on outside circumstance or other people's word? I connected myself to the idea of peace and truth and understanding what that really meant in my life. Now, in order to find this idea, I had to ask myself the question, if there were one idea or concept that if it was taken away, was so important to me that would make me stop setting goals, would make me hit, if there was an I quit button and there was no more of this idea or concept in this world, would make me say I quit, I don't want to do it anymore. What idea or concept would make me hit the I quit button if everyone kept going, everyone kept living, and then they had no idea that it was taken away. It was the twilight zone. Like there was no more peace, there was no more love, there was no more freedom, there was no more expression, there was no more, and not an emotion, not happiness, not a person, place, thing, not a noun, but there was no more creativity, there was no more connection between people, there was no more love, and whatever those ideas mean to you. And if I asked you to give me 10 different areas of your life, I would see a consistent pattern between all of them. There's going to be one or two ideas that show up everywhere. So you have to ask yourself, what idea or concept, if taken away, would make me say I quit? And for me, that was peace. That was truth. Once I connected to that, I became larger than myself. I really saw the value in having believing in something greater than yourself. And I understood people's need, and I saw how people use it in religion. They attach themselves to something that's everlasting, something that's ever present. When I did that, I became more. I became a representative of something that's eternal, something that's limitless. There's no bounds to it. The greatest men of all time and the greatest women of all time always connected themselves to ideas or concepts. So when life circumstances challenged them, they always said, okay, you know what? Sojourner Truth, I believe in freedom. Tony Robbins, I believe in liberating people from themselves and from the boundaries of the world around them. Jesus, I believe in setting the captives free. They all had these ideas. Walt Disney, I believe in allowing you to see that dreams can come true. And with that, you can go to a swamp in Florida and say, I'm going to create the largest amusement park and an empire that lasts eternally. And go with no money in the bank, getting rejected from 1,000 different people. When you connect to an idea, and the way to find it is asking that question. So I'll help you guys do that in 1 second. When you connect to an idea, you become more than just this fleshly body. You become what you love most in the world. You love this idea 10 out of 10, so that means you love you 10 out of 10. And you allow yourself to be completely and totally empowered. You can create. There's nothing anyone can ever do to come up to you. There's no fact. There's no amount of people, 7 billion people, 100 million people, no matter who it is. You can have the entire galaxy come up to me and tell me that my idea is whatever. But there's nothing that they can do to destroy the fact that the idea of freedom or peace has inspired millions and millions of people before me. They can't stop the fact that it will inspire people in the future. There's nothing that they can do to tear down a concept. It can't be molded. It doesn't change day to day. And when you do that, you have a sense of self that's very consistent day in and day out. I'm getting up. I'm loving who I am. I may not like my outfit. I may have lost my home. I may not have any transportation. Everyone may think that I'm a certain type of person. People may be judging me based on the way I look, but it doesn't matter because I love me 10 out of 10. And I know that I have the control of the situation. I can love me because ultimately they only have suggestions. And I am the alpha in this situation. I am in charge of this choice. So then, once we covered that identity, once I did that, I had a sense of, I was never broken. I never had another bad day again, not an emotional bad day. Not where oh my God, I don't love me. I don't think I'm very good. I haven't had that moment in a very long time, specifically using this technique. Secondly, we go into your purpose. Once I had the who, I knew who I was. Once I had the who, I needed the why. Why am I here? What is my purpose here? And I struggled with that for quite a long time. And I said, you know what? I noticed that there was a pattern with young people. We all kind of have the same path when trying to come up with this purpose. And nobody was giving me the answer. So you call up, you say, hey, God, hey, Jesus, hey, Yahweh, Buddha, Allah. Hey, listen, I need you to tell me. I'm an adult now, and I need you to, give me a call back and tell me exactly why I'm here. Like, what's this for? Like, what does this mean? Like, what? Can you let me know? I'm like 20 years in. I don't understand. No one's really giving me the answer. No one's giving me a solution. So if you could just give me a call back, that'd be awesome. And then, it's like, oh man, God, an answering machine. It's like, okay, well, let me see if I can go to my parents. And then you go to your parents or an adult that you value. And you say, why? What is this for? Like, what does this mean? And one of the most interesting parts about that was you'll get two answers. You'll get either, hey, honey, you should go to college, or you should go join the military, or you should learn a trade, but you never really get the answer you want, or you have the opposite for the most part. You'll have a person whose parents are like, listen, you need to do A through Z, and if you don't do this by the time you're 20, 30, and 40, I'll disown you. And it's like, oh my God, I shouldn't ask you. Oh no. So with that, you had, it was a very interesting dynamic. I said, okay, well, my parents can't give me the answer. I'll go to college and then I'll ask them. I'll just see if there's some options for people like me, people who want to know, is anyone feeling like me? Like, does everyone else have a purpose and I just don't? So I went to school and I looked and I said, okay, psychology, I don't know about that. Business, that sounds okay. Social work, no, maybe. And then I said, I actually chose social work at first, and I transferred to business. I said, okay, well, maybe I should go in the direction of criminal justice. I don't know. I said, but these are all so vague, and they don't seem to be personalized for me. And I also know people who enjoy their jobs in all these areas, but I know tons of people who are miserable, in their fields. And it's like, my gosh, wouldn't it be terrible to get in the field and then finally years down the line, like, you're like 60, time to retire. It's like, man, I could have just done something different. Who wants to live like that? I don't think so. So I said, okay, I'm just going to ask my friends. And I did. I asked my friends. And they were like, bro, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I was like, man, I was mad at them, but I was mad at them. And with that, I said, okay, if this is the case, if I'm trying to figure this out, let me see what would the alternative look like. Imagine if God actually called you back, and then He said, hey, buddy, how you doing? You doing all right? Are you enjoying life? Hey, listen, I'm going to have to. I actually see your file right here. You're going to sweep Dunkin' Donuts floors until you're 56. You'll have 4 kids, and then you'll die of a heart attack. Okay, did you get that? All right, my time is precious. Did you get that? You're like, oh God, oh no, are you looking at the right file? And you'd be really disappointed. You'd be like, golly, you shouldn't have called me back, man. I shouldn't have picked up the phone. And then you'd say, okay, all right. Okay, now imagine if your parents really did give you that answer. And they said, I want you to do A through Z. And if you don't, we're going to disown you. All right? And then you'd be like, oh Jesus, no, I don't think so. And imagine if the school said, a person who looks like your description and your height, weight, color, everything, and your test scores particularly, you are fit to do this in society, and this is your path. This is the way you should go. You'd say, oh man, wow, I think I'm going to just drop out. Like, you'd be like, no, I don't think so. And then imagine if your friends told you, Frank, I need you to do this with your life. You'd be like, what do you know? Like, what do you know? You're still trying to figure this out yourself. So essentially, if all of these people gave you a response, it's not that they don't love you, they're not trying to do what's best for you, but essentially they'd be giving you the response that is based on how they feel really about themselves and their lives. So imagine your dad or your mom, they come up to you. They're really just saying, in order for me to be the type of parent I want to be, I have to give you this answer. And if they do give you that response, and that's really an extension of their agenda for their own lives. And if your friends or your school gave you an answer, it'd really just be the counselor or your friend saying, in order for me to be the counselor I want to be, in order for me to be the friend I want to be, I have to give you this response. And it's an extension of their agendas for their own lives. Now, would you really want to accept, I mean, imagine if they responded to you, they gave you something. Would you really want to accept another person's agenda for your life? Would you really want to accept someone else's agenda for your life? No. I mean, that's, we're asking the question, but we don't really want a response, especially if it's something we don't want to hear, or we change down the line. So with that, I got to the point where I said, okay, I had this realization, we don't necessarily, and this was a much better option for me, we don't necessarily owe anybody, except the universe and our creators, if that's what you believe in. And the people who, because I felt like I do owe the people who invested in me and didn't want anything in return. I do owe the people who look up to me. I owe them this. I owe them something. And what could I possibly owe them? I owe them what it is they really want from me. To live my life in a way that I'm proud of, in a way that I love, in a way that's meaningful to me. Because at the end of the day, that's all they want. And really, that's what I want. So I owe them to become the best version of myself I could possibly be. There's a set of gifts and talents within me and within all of you and everybody that you'll never find in the same combination. It's like a snowflake. You'll never find it in the same combination ever again. Nobody in the world has your combination of gifts and talents and interests, desires, and knowledge. And you need to maximize that. Become the best version of yourself. Make the connections that you want to make in this world. Live a life you're proud of. Learn more. Grow as fast as you can. Set goals and meet them. And shine to the best of your ability, because if you don't, your story becomes the story of a person who lived a life that should have been. It's the life that could have been. You become a story of, you really could have just not played the game at that point. You could have just not showed up. So, and I realized that. I said, you know what? From now on, I'm going to love as hard as I can. I'm going to create the memories that I want to create. And I'm going to inspire as many people as I possibly can, because I owe it. I owe it to the people who look up to me. I do. And I owe it to my creator and the universe. And I owe it to the people who invested in me and really didn't want anything in return. And I'm going to become the best. I have the voltage. I'm going to shine. I felt like that was a much better alternative than trying to accept someone else's agenda over my life. And if you feel like that's relevant or adds value to you, just say aye.
Aye. Aye. Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, you have it was very interesting, because that's purpose. You have a purpose. I have a purpose in this world now. I can move forward knowing I'm here to shine. I'm here to become the best version of myself I can possibly be. And there was nothing in this world that will stop me from doing that. I have a purpose now. Every day I get up, I love who I am because I have the identity. I've connected myself to the idea of peace. All right? I have a purpose. I know why I'm here. Now I need the what. What is it I'm here to do? And that was such an interesting thing, because I realized once you're kind of really fulfilled, you're like, well, what do I do now? Like, there's a whole future. Like, I handle the present, but what's next? That was very tricky for me. And I got to the point where you essentially have to ask yourself the right question, and then you'll get the right answer. So if there was let's say you woke up, right? And there was an identity, an entity there. And there was the afterlife, and you had finished your life. You had had a bunch of kids, or however many kids you want. You met the spouse that you kind of liked, and it was okay. Your job was all right, kind of settled for less, whatever. It was an okay life. But you're like, okay, you get there, and it's all over. And you say, okay, well, what is next? Like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, hey, did you enjoy everything? You're like, it was cool, man, but, where's my reward? Where's my, like, where's my mansion? There should be like 50 virgins or something. Like what's going on? And you imagine that he says to you, listen, hey, bro, reward, punishment, heaven, hell, I'm sorry. Like, somebody just told me about that like 2 minutes ago. What is, dude, it doesn't exist. I just got the memo. Like, bro, that was it. And then you say, oh my God, what do you mean? He's like, listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if there was any confusion. That journey, that was it. There's nothing left. I hope you had a good time. I'm sorry, this is new for me. I didn't know. He'd say, oh my God, I wish I had known. I would have chosen. I would have connected more. I would have chosen a different job. Like, what could I have done that made it all worth it? Like, it's unfortunate. And that was a reality for me, because I know the end is coming at some point in time. And I said, my God, if that is the case, could you imagine? I couldn't say that I did anything that was so worth having nothing in the end. And I said, you know what? I have to find something that moves me. What would be the perfect mission? It would be something that gets you up early in the morning. It would be something that leaves you at the point where I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to go to bed. I'm just going to stay awake all the time and do this because I love what I do, and it's the bomb, and it's fantastic. What can you do that means that much to you? Literally moves you to tears. As soon as you progress in just the smallest way, or you help somebody else progress in the same area, what would move me that much? What would be so important to me that when I got to the end, if I got to the end and I was in a room and there was an entity and they were about to tell me anything, I'd say, you know what? I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm not exactly sure why I'm here, but you don't really have to say anything to me. And don't offer me anything. Heaven, hell, purgatory, whatever. And there's a reason I say don't offer me anything. It's because I loved what I did. I connected with everyone I wanted to. It was so, I made the memories I wanted to. I had kids. I invested in others. I inspired the uninspired. I was the dreamer who woke up to find that his dream came true. So you know what? I'm going to say that ultimately, and I was moved every day. I cried so many times because I loved every moment that I spent fulfilling my mission. And I engaged in it every day. And there was nothing more spectacular to me. And I said, what would that be for me? What would that be for me? If I could literally stand there and say that to somebody and say, you know, don't offer me anything. I had to ask myself the question, if I was in that circumstance, what would make me answer that? What could I possibly do that would leave me in a spot where I said, it was totally worth it? And for me, that was adding value to other people. To know that I came and it mattered. That I invested in others and they heard me. But if I didn't leave anything behind, I'm not monetarily driven. I don't care anything about money. But what I do care about, what I learned from the blood drive, and even the people who contributed to me and didn't want anything in return. There was nothing more valuable than being selfless, or as close to selflessness as you can be. Being completely engaged in another person and really investing in them and wanting the best for them because they remember that forever. My number one memory is somebody who came out of nowhere. Wasn't family, wasn't a friend. I didn't know them. We were in like a car accident. They came into my life, and I was like the kind of troubled kid. I didn't have anything really going for me at the time, and they said, you know what, I don't care about your life. I love to invest in you. I love spending time with you to see you grow. And for me, there's nothing more moving. And if I can be what she was for me in my life, I will absolutely go ahead and just spend my life doing that. This would be totally and 110% worth it. And so I found my mission. I found it a few months ago, actually. And I said, I'm going to do this every day. And there's been nothing more moving since. So ask yourself the question, if you were in a spot, when you woke up, and you can do it, enough time, because a lot of times it takes reflection. When you woke up, you said, okay, all right, entity's here saying there's no reward. What would make me say it was fine, it's fine, I don't need it? What moves me that much? What gets me going? And you will find that you already have 4 or 5 answers lined up in your head. If I did this, no matter what. We all have missions, and it'll change in time. It'll change in time. There may be a mission now, there'll be a new mission in a couple of years as you grow as a person. The idea that you use to represent yourself will change in time, but you will always be a person you love. You will always have a purpose, and you will always have a mission. Now, if all of that sounds like you can get that together and really use that triad of strength to move forward, if that sounds super practical and probable, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Yes. All right. So, we've made it through the first third of the seminar. Now, I want you to give yourself a round of applause. I want you to high five your neighbor. High five your neighbor. You guys have found out about the triad of strength. You get those things together, you will be 110% where you need to be. Now, what after that, you have lighter topics. So we go into belief. All right. So the power of belief. What does belief mean in you, in your life, in lives of other people around you? Like, what does it do for you when you believe in yourself? Right? When you just believe. Right? So I want you to go like this. All right. All right. How are you doing? How are you doing? And don't say I'm sending 1,000 electrons down each finger. How are you doing? Good try. Good, very close. Go for it. How you doing?
Counting my hand. Good.
How you doing? It's very weird, right? All right, now you guys can stop. That was a fun activity. But, and now it's like, okay, you kind of take it for granted, like I can do this. I don't really know how I'm doing it. I just can do it. And so you break it down into 3 components. The first component was, you have the ability and the potential to be successful, to make this happen. You have the ability, you have the potential. You then have, number 2, you need the desire. I have the ability, the resourcefulness, and I have the desire to do so. But then, what's the third piece? That's the belief. I have the belief that I can, because if I totally believed that I couldn't do it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. You'd be struggling, all right? Now, what does that mean for you? I want you to think of a time where you've practiced something consistently for years, and you just got really good at it, and what happens when you try it? You know how to do it, right? You know how to do it. Now, we all have moments, all right? Raise your hand if this is true. We all have moments where we've done something. We had all the resources, we had all of the potential, we had the desire to be successful, we had done it a million times. We had rehearsed, we had everything in mind. Made it to the finish line, we were right there. And we just went into it like, oh man, dude, it's not my day, I don't know. And then you mess it up.